Welcome back, everybody. SDFC, bros. Carlos, we're feeling good, not hungover,
Not hungover anymore.
but we had a really fun time at hosting our own watch party.
Yes, definitely.
How are you feeling, mate?
I think it felt really good. And, I used to grow up watching like watch parties, like the Chargers play or the Padres game and stuff like that. So it felt to be like older now and be able to do a watch party for a San Diego team. You know what I'm saying? A San Diego soccer team. That was pretty cool, exciting. I think we got a little bit too much, but you know what? Going forward, regardless, I think we can start opening it up to more people.
Yeah,
and
no,
who knows?
definitely.
Yeah.
I think that's something that we can maybe explore in the future.
Right.
So make sure y'all stay tuned. But I mean, when SDFC wins, you gotta party hard.
Yeah,
you know
of
what I
course,
mean?
of
So,
course.
but guys, we're here to review the game versus Sporting Kansas City, kind of talking about the main talking points in that game, and we're gonna talk about the Milan Iloski situation. There was a podcast that came out. Shout out to Ben and Woods. They had Tyler Heaps on the podcast, and they were kind of just talking about the whole Iloski situation. So we're gonna put our thoughts into that when we actually have some transparency in that kind of situation, and then we're gonna talk about the game versus San Jose. Carlos, you ready?
I'm ready.
All
Let's
right,
dive
let's
in.
jump in. So we're going to start off with the lineups. CJ Dos Santos returns back into the lineup. A masked CJ Dos Santos,
100%.
which I thought he played
Looking
really
good in
well.
that. Great
Looking
fashion
really
statement.
good. Oh, yeah. And then we had David Vasquez get his first start for San Diego FC. In my opinion, this was one of the best San Diego FC lineups that we had, something that was really balanced going forward. We saw Chris McVeigh come back into the lineup too, which was really nice. Be partnered up with Manu Dua, which Manu Dua that crazy goal line save, which was really nice. So Manu, big up to you, my friend. Tip of the hat. But overall, right, we saw De La Torre get benched for Vasquez, and I think that was a question mark for a lot of fans. But at least for me, I said it in the last podcast. I think from here on out, David Vasquez is going to start these games, and he gets his first start for San Diego FC in the MLS. So it's like, I think in this game, David Vasquez, he didn't do a lot, but I think when you kind of take him out of the picture, I think it was one of those where it's kind of obvious that, you know, he does make that difference when he's not there. So just kind of overall thoughts, what did you kind of think of the lineups going in? We saw Valakari in for Tomas Angel as well.
I think once we saw the lineups, I think it just became a lot clearer how we were going to go play again, and having Valakari, a confident Valakari up top as well too.
Definitely.
Obviously, against a team like Kansas City, we should be scoring a lot more goals, but we did come off of a really bad run in Leagues Cup, I would say. So I don't know. It was really interesting to see it. Obviously, knowing that Valakari's in, we're not going to be scoring a ton of goals. But I think we're playing a really balanced soccer at this point, where it's like we want to score maybe 2-3 goals. Maybe we're not going to be the team that was scoring the most goals like last time. But we have a really solid defense at this point as well too. So that's really important going forward. I think with David Vasquez, I think it's something like we talked about too, and we're obviously going to talk about Mike Iloski, but I think one of the biggest things is like obviously David Vasquez is being put in because De La Torre more than likely is going to be out. But you see how they're handling this situation versus when they knew when Iloski wasn't going to leave, and you now see that was pressure tactics essentially, you know, because De La Torre's never been rumored to stay or anything like that. But they're still kind of like leaning him off, but they're not saying, "Oh, you're not going to play at all." You know what I'm saying? Unfortunately, though, for me, I'd rather see a Pedro play than David Vasquez because Pedro's going to be our long-term successor when De La Torre leaves, Vasquez still being a lone player. So
I think Vasquez is a little bit more dynamic, so I think that's why we kind of threw him in a little bit. But I do kind of agree with you. I think maybe I think Pedro is going to be similar to kind of what an Alvarado was.
Right.
If that kind of makes sense. That's kind of a player that I would kind of compare him to.
Exactly, and of course I'd love to have Vasquez and him stay, but unfortunately I don't know if that's going to be what it is going forward. And again, we're going to talk more into the load situation, but you know, I don't know. It
is a loan with an option to buy. So we do have the option to buy him, which I think
is going to make things a little bit easier.
It'll be interesting how we kind of exercise that option. But SD come out good, 23 minutes in, Chucky Lozano. Bro, this was a banger.
Oh, of course.
This was a banger, right? And I mean, we're talking about Chucky in kind of the recent games, especially in Leagues Cup, how he wasn't really performing to the top level that we maybe would have wanted him to. But in this game, I think this was definitely one of his better matches where he was sharing the ball. I mean, his goal that he got, he tackled Kansas City. Same shit. St. Louis, Kansas City. It's right there. tackled the Kansas City player, won the ball, Dreyer with an assist, by the way, and then Chucky just lets it fly, and it's a banger. So talk to me to kind of how Chucky has been in like the talking points that we've had this season about him.
Well, I think having Chucky. I mean, we've been talking about him like up and down, left and right at this point. I think it's just been hard with that first injury. I think it's been hard for him coming into this league as well too. But something that we have been seeing him a little bit more is a less maybe selfish Chucky, maybe a Chucky. I feel like when we first had him come in, it was almost like he was put on this role from the very beginning of like, you're going to be the man. So he tried to fit into that role. And ultimately throughout the season, I feel like he's learning in himself, this isn't my role. You know what I'm saying? I am the best player on this team, essentially the most paid, but I don't have to portray myself as that throughout the whole season. Like, and I feel like that was what kept going on. And that's what kind of made his decline. When he kind of fell back into his own little like shape of who he was, just holding that left line and not trying to do everything on his own. I think you see more of like this team flowing and being a better team. But we've seen time and time again of Chucky trying to score those goals, and it finally just hit.
Yeah.
So I don't know what it is. It's just maybe he's getting into his rhythm again in MLS. Again, I'm sure it's a different culture shock. I mean, we've seen Zlatan come in. We've seen
Carlos Vela
come in, and they just boom, 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 boom. So I guess the assumption is that they're going to just play like that. But then on the other hand, you see Royce or you see Son now, and they do take a little bit to warm up, So maybe Chucky's just getting into his flow, and maybe playing in the Leagues Cup kind of reminded him, and it's like when you're put in a place where you're playing against a bunch of people who are bad, like you just start to become bad a little bit. You know what I'm saying? But I think playing in the Leagues Cup might have reminded him of like, wait, I have a little bit more potential.
Sure.
If that makes any sense.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I 100% agree. I want to say it's like I feel like Chucky, when he's less selfish, plays way better.
Yeah.
Way better, because it's like when you see, I feel like the game that I was really looking at into comparison in this one was versus Pachuca.
Right.
Where versus Pachuca, he wanted that goal, right? Where it was always like, oh, try to get the ball to Chucky, or he tried to like dribble through a couple players, and it just wasn't coming off. Whereas this one just felt so much more natural, where he won the ball himself, and obviously Dreyer's just like, let me just give it back to Chucky. Let's see if he cooks. And he cooked up a banger. So I think that is kind of just one thing that you can really look at to see like, okay, Chucky in this type of form, I guess you could say, or rather in this type of game, is one that you want to see throughout the whole rest of the season. Because when you have Chucky playing off of his teammates, kind of working off the ball as well, that is the best Chucky that you're going to see. And hopefully we kind of get that Chucky for the rest of the season going into the playoffs. In the second half, we saw much of what we saw in the first half. Dreyer gets his goal, and what's really obvious, I think, what I'm going to say is you see what Dreyer gives us on and off the pitch, right? It was the Tigres game, right, where we were absent, we were flat-footed, we were just so lifeless in the attack. And now, right, you see him in this game, which he didn't have, his fingerprints all over the game, but he had such a big impact. And I mean, a goal and an assist. Now he passes Carlos Vela for most goal contributions for a player during an expansions club's first year. Real talk, when we signed Dreyer, did you think he was going to be this effective?
No, but I think as it became more talking points, you kind of saw like he was kind of like I know that a lot of people were saying like he's like an underrated, what I'm saying, underrated, and I'm never the person to hear something beforehand and be like, oh, that's 100% until I see it. So I wasn't expecting much, but I mean, I think he surpassed everybody's expectations.
Right. Yeah, no, definitely. For me, I think the game where I clocked it, where I was like, okay, Dreyer's a serious player, is probably, I think it was Real Salt Lake.
Yeah.
Where he scored the goal, and he had like that quote that he came out. He's like, oh, they were like talking shit when I was taking the corner.
Right.
So he's like, when I scored, I had to go back over there. That's when I clocked it, where I'm like, okay, I think we got a serious player. And I mean, look, from that moment, I haven't looked back. And I think it is more than obvious that every single SDFC fan kind of thinks the same. Like Dreyer, right, as great as Chucky is and as great as, his performances come and go, Dreyer's just so consistent. Like every single game, even when he may not score or assist, he still offers you that off-ball movement,
Right,
or kind of just that
100%.
creativity that, you know, maybe you won't see from any other player.
No, I agree, and I think we can clock it when he's not playing. There's a huge difference, and
Yeah.
it's something that is needed from him. Whether you throw him, even because I remember the times when we didn't even have a real striker two, we were still trying, and then that's when we put
Yeah, we put
Dryer
him
as
center
as a center forward,
Yeah.
and then what is it?
We went like Chucky on the left,
Mayan.
center forward, Dryer, and then Mayan.
It's still, even that was still just more of an impact, and it's just like having Dryer no matter what in this field is important, you know?
Yeah, 100%. And I mean, look, I think when you kind of look at these numbers, I mean, like if you were to just think like 29 goal contributions from any player is phenomenal. Like I think of like the Messi Ronaldo days in La Liga, they were putting up like 60 goals, right? And that was just normal for us.
Right,
because
exactly.
it was just so common. For me, it's like when I see a player like Dryer do something where I'm not, you know, familiar with his game or anything
Especially
like
in
that.
the MLS.
Especially in the MLS, and especially the first year of a club, right? You're kind of looking at his impact, bro. 29 goal contributions. That's a lot, bro. That is a lot. And we're, I think, 26 or 27 games into the season. So he has more goal contributions than games.
How many of those assists were to Iloski, though?
That's a good question. That's a good question. I don't know. At least maybe like 2 for sure from the Vancouver game. But we're talking 2 goals out of what? 10 Iloski scored?
Goals, yeah, I mean, still.
But yeah, no, regardless of the fact is, Dryer, he's second to none. He has to win MLS MVP. It's not even close. Like, Messi is always in those talks. I think just because he is Messi, I mean, he's phenomenal, right? In his own right. I mean, just because he is Messi. But for me, it's like when you just watch a San Diego FC game, you watch Dryer, he's second to none.
Exactly.
So, so obviously SDFC get the win. And I think this win kind of went under the radar a little bit because I'll tell you this and I'll tell you why. Portland, Vancouver, and Minnesota, they all lost.
Right.
They all dropped points. So
Except Vancouver got robbed. I don't know if you
think
saw
Vancouver
that.
got
No,
robbed?
they got robbed.
Go ahead,
They got robbed.
elaborate.
They got robbed. I don't know if you saw the game
I
or
didn't
not.
see nothing.
Terrible ref MLS.
Really?
Like you know, we've had a lot of conversation about San Diego FC, like in the ref situation, but this ref situation
robbery.
was disgusting. Actually,
Really?
insane.
Damn.
And it turns out he's a low-key LAFC fan.
No
who
way.
There's like obviously I think third right now. So
Yeah, like third or fourth.
yeah,
or
they're
something.
kind of they're in the race. So.
Damn.
But robbed, like straight robbery.
Damn, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
but
no.
yeah, regardless of the fact is they dropped points. Minnesota dropped
good
points.
for us, but
yeah,
just still,
good for us. It helps out.
Yeah, but it's still just terrible. You know what I mean?
I hear.
Yeah.
You don't want to kind of win that way.
No.
Regardless of the fact is SDFC did the job they had to do, right? Because I think it was just at that point where we played first, they played second, so we were kind of just, I think, under the hot seat as well. Because I think this whole season Vancouver's just been, you know, up our ass in the table, especially because they do have a game in hand as well.
Right.
So now it's to that point where SDFC is 4 points ahead with Vancouver having a game in hand. So at this point, we hold the destiny to finish in first place.
I agree.
If we win outright, we will finish the season in first place, which is sensational. And it is also great that we already played our games versus Vancouver and everything.
Just let alone, I think we're actually 2 points from the actual leader, like the whole
the supporter shield.
The supporter shield.
Right.
So we're even in the race for that.
Oh, yeah.
Which is insane to just say. Like before, I think it was like maybe 4-point difference, but at this point,
because they lost too.
Yeah, we're only 2 points from the supporter shield from going that. So like, regardless, to win even the supporter shield as the first expansion team, which I feel like even a lot more people would say that that's a lot harder, and more important if we're talking to somebody in the Premier League or somebody from what's called. Of course, the MLS Cup is what we want to win, everything like that. But supporter shield has so much value in it too. Being the first in all of the season is exactly how Premier League goes. It's La Liga goes. You know what I'm saying? It's European soccer style at that point. You know?
Yeah, definitely. So then I will say this, right? When we were in like that April month where we were just in the mud, right? We were 6th place. At that point, did you think that SDFC was going to kind of turn it around and be in the spot that they're in right now?
No, I don't. I didn't think so. I didn't think that was gonna happen. But again, like there's just so much credit that I want to give to just a one player, and I know we want to get him off our top of our tongue, but like I don't think we would have gotten there without him.
That Vancouver game, I think, was the turning point.
Right, but even before that, I think he was scoring these goals that were essential for us to win these games.
I hear. I think for me, the turning point kind of the season was that Vancouver game. It was, I think, the month of June. Because we played Minnesota. I think we played St. Louis, and then we played Vancouver.
Well, I think it was the game before that when it was El Chingon.
El Chingon.
It was at Vancouver that we played.
Oh, damn. I don't know. I think... I don't remember. I think it may have been St. Louis. No, that was at Novo.
Whoever, but
yeah,
you know,
regardless of the fact,
I think that was like the one game before for that. I think that was when it was really that 1 month where it's like, okay, we're back in flow. Of course, the team. Don't get me wrong, the team. But there's been so many close calls where things have changed because of it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But who knows? I mean, who knows? Who knows what would happen? We can't just sit there and say like it's just one person. Obviously, it's a team who does it, but like. I do see the team continuing the success that they have now. And I think those wins and whatever we had there helped propel us to this position at the end of the day.
Certainly. And I mean, look, I think we were all kind of worried about that Iloski situation, and we'll get to that very briefly. And I think a lot of us were kind of asking questions because we're all like, I think we tied a game and then I think we lost one maybe. So then we're all like, oh, is Iloski really, the anchor of this team to kind of give us success? And I mean, look, I think a huge credit has to go to Mike Ivanas. And I think a comment that I seen on one of our posts was that someone said that Mike Ivanas should be in contention for Coach of the Year. Right. And I don't think that's ridiculous.
No, it's not ridiculous
say that
at all. No.
So it's like, because it's like when you go through a moment like that in April, right, where we're 6th place, turn it around in the month of May, get to, I think, 2nd or 3rd place. And on top of that, with the whole Iloski situation and the gravity of that, situation, and all the stuff like that, I think it's one of those where it's like you really have to contain the locker room and you really have to get these players to buy into what you're trying to sell.
Right.
Much.
I mean, and that's what I think 5 games away without losing.
Yeah, 5 games in a row.
Yeah, that's insane too. Like regardless,
that's a record. First expansion club to ever do that.
Yeah, that's insane. That's crazy as well within its own. And some of those games were without Iloski, like we talked. So it is insane. This team is great, and it doesn't happen overnight, and it happens because of a proper coach like Mike Ivanas.
Certainly.
I do want to just say going forward though. This game obviously was important, stuff like that, but again, we're playing Kansas City. We're not playing top dogs, and we still have yet. What I'm very fearful of this is we haven't faced a proper opponent where we've come up on top, and so I don't know how that puts us in playoffs.
Well, I disagree with that, and I'll tell you why.
Right.
Because when we played Nashville, that game, Nashville is a very top opponent.
Right. No, you're right.
They're 2nd place in the East. And they came to our house.
Maybe
and
that's me being pessimistic.
That was a game where I looked at it. Not only did we get a clean sheet, but we got the W and we played a great style. And we can really stay competitive in the whole match.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think I'm just maybe being a little pessimistic.
I think this whole kind of Iloski situation, honestly, I'm gonna be real. I think it's really clouded your head to the point where it's like you don't think that SD has like the firepower anymore.
It's just where I think it will become hard is finding a way to score goals. Mm-hmm. And I don't want to say like we had a cheat code, but we had somebody that like who could bang those goals in. And now
reliable player,
reliable. And now I don't see if a team is pushing us really hard, like how we will be able to get those goals. And that's just my only thing. That's my only like worriedness. And it's like I think at the end of the day when Mike Iloski was in, not Mike
Mike Iloski.
What's his name?
Milan.
When Milan Iloski was in, it just felt like more secure, and like the team was just it was the best team that we ever had.
Right.
And it was just like you saw that team winning.
Yeah, no, we were scoring goals, we were winning. Yeah,
and I saw that team winning everything. I see this team potentially winning everything, but I feel like catch us on a bad day and we're out. And that's when it comes to playoffs is.
Yeah, no, I think the one thing that I think we really improved on without Iloski, and this is something that I really like, is our defensive game.
Right.
I feel like we've kept a lot more clean sheets because it's like now we aren't relying on Iloski to, bail us out, score 3 goals, and we can concede 2 goals on the bounce.
Right.
So it's like I feel like now we kind of have to be a lot more of a well-rounded team rather than an offensive juggernaut.
100%.
So that's kind of what I think. So let's actually get into the Milan Iloski situation.
Overall, good game though.
Overall, great game. I would say probably let's just do like a little score rating. I guess we haven't done this in a while.
Yeah, we haven't.
Little score rating. I'll say honestly, this was probably like a 7-5 for me. Away win, clean sheet, Chucky goal, Dreyer goal and assist. What more can you ask for?
No, I don't think it's terrible, but I just go 6. Again, just not a great opponent.
Run
so
in the
you know
middle.
what I'm saying? Kansas City didn't, surprise us very well. Also, there were some chances where Kansas City could have scored. They didn't, though. Our defense still lacks a little.
CJ Dos Santos had a huge game.
CJ and Dua having those saves. So, I mean, we're still a little shaky, still trying to iron out the kicks. And again, when we play a team that can score, they are going to hopefully not hurt us, but they can. And just back to the thing is, like, MLS is so forgiving for us against that. And we'll see.
I think Chris McVay in this game was a little underrated too. I think he was kind of organizing the back line a little bit. I think he was doing his thing. But were you going to say something?
Regardless, I think it was a 6. I think an average game.
Fair. Yeah. So, let's get into this Milan Iloski situation. The Ben and Woods podcast, shout out to them. They had Tyler Heaps on their show, and he kind of just broke down the Milan Iloski situation
as needed to be
as much needed. I think
because we haven't talked about it, but Philadelphia signed
So Philadelphia ended up signing Milan Iloski on a permanent deal, so he is playing for them. I think he already played for them. He already came in as a sub and everything like that. Hasn't scored yet, but regardless,
he would have scored with us.
I mean, you were saying I was son and everything like that. So, anyways, but so kind of just breaking it down in bulk. Both sides wanted a deal to happen, right? SD wanted Iloski. Iloski wanted to stay. But the problem was that Iloski wanted to kind of capitalize on his moment.
His short-term success.
Right, his short-term success and get his money. However, SDFC did not want to accept his offer, bottom line. So as I think we're on both sides of the spectrum where you're pay Iloski all you want, and I'm kind of on the side of SDFC not paying him. So
no, after listening to Tyler Heap's interview, it makes sense. At the end of the day, he goes on to say that we've known him for X amount of months because Nordsjælland is sister club. So obviously they have a bigger sample size in Nordsjælland, but I think I think they use that as an advantage versus like looking at the reality is like. Obviously, Iloski playing in Nordsjælland in a European team, it's a lot bigger, probably a lot harder.
Oh, sure.
Than playing in San Diego and then being American playing in San Diego. You know what I'm saying? So I think they used that leverage of this these 18th months that they were saying like as an advantage to be like, no, we can pay you less. But the reality is that once he touched ground in MLS, he was a star, and he was a star with this team. So I think that you kind of take that sample size and you extend it. You blow it out. And I think you said Ben and Woods? Ben and Woods. Ben and Woods said it. Like if you had a Padre player in San Diego who went and scored 10 home runs in a game, it would be literally like murder in San Diego to not keep him. So it's like I believe it's the same in soccer too. It's just like yes, the sample size was small, and yes, maybe compared to what he was doing in Nordsjælland was nothing, but again, like it's MLS, and I think you kind of run with that a little bit. And I think in a season where we're not going to be playing, like buying so many people, you take the money and go with it. And I think he was just that superstar. He was that light in San Diego that was bringing him people to games that were excited to come to games.
True.
And so I think you do that. From my understanding and the way that I feel like Tyler Heaps was doing it, it's like it wasn't on him. Essentially, it seemed like he's like, it's hard to convince other people with that sample size. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of just like Shark Tank. You know what I'm saying? Like essentially, Tyler Heaps is like, come on guys, like let's do this. Let's predict my vision. But like all the sharks on Shark Tank are gonna tell you,
the evaluation.
The valuation is just way too off. So you're asking somebody to essentially take a risk. I think the risk was fair. I would have been the Sharks turning the table. I would have been the one on The Voice turning the chair.
Are you Kevin?
Yeah, I would have been Kevin. What does he say? He does the
royalty.
The royalty. We just throw royalty on Iloski.
Yeah, but yeah, I think for me, kind of how I look at it in this kind of Iloski drama situation is that I think Tyler Heaps was kind of looking at it in kind of the bigger picture, where it's like, okay, we can either take a gamble on Iloski, right, and he kind of continues his hot form and everything like that, or we can kind of look at it and kind of invest that into somewhere else.
100%.
And I think if we don't bring in Iloski, or rather if we do keep Iloski, I don't think we bring in the right depth pieces like a Harangi, like a David Vasquez, like a Pedro Soma. So it's like we got rid of one player, but we got three. And we got three pretty damn good ones, in my opinion. Yes, they're not strikers. They're not, the global headliners.
They're loans, though, at the same time.
They are loans. I mean, we got Pedro on a permanent deal. Fairs. We got David Vasquez on a loan with an option, and I'm not really sure about Harangi. I think he's just an outright loan. But we're a little bit thin in those positions because of injuries. But regardless of the fact is, for me, I kind of look at it as where, like, Iloski, he was 26, so he's kind of in like that peak age where he's, probably firing at the highest efficiency he can. But I am more than confident enough that Iloski is not the only golden fish in the pond.
Okay,
in my opinion, I think that we can most definitely get someone who is a similar profile. It's going to be hard because he's just, he's a rare breed. He's a rare breed. He's a dying breed of strikers. It's going to be tough, but I don't think that Iloski is the only one out there. So, and again, with kind of the players that we have brought in, right? Off the bat, I've just been very impressed with David Vasquez. So it's like, I think if we can bring in someone like that, who's to say that Tyler Heaps isn't already having someone on his transfer list to bring in the winter time?
Right, and I think just more to what you're saying is just like, it makes me feel a little bit more safer for these loans that are coming in. It wasn't just that we didn't want to sign Iloski because we were like, oh, let's just throw it out to the table. But I think you're right. I think one, Mikey Vadas is a brand new coach. Two, SDFC is a brand new team, and Tyler Heaps is his first position managing a club at this level. If it was me, I'd take the Tyler Heaps decision as well too, because I'm thinking of long-term success. I'm thinking of my own long-term success, and I'm taking a gamble with Milan Iloski. Right. I'm taking a gamble with him, and if he doesn't succeed, that's on me, and that's me on my future career as a sporting director.
100%.
And at the end of the day, like, you're right. If we didn't have this success, if we didn't luck out with Iloski, the vision is still clear and it's still on paper. We still have to do what we have to do.
Right.
We just because these things happened to us, just because all these things were happening and putting a gift, doesn't mean that we stay clear from what we've focused on entirely all the time. Which makes sense, and it's the safer route. But again, I think it was just a gamble that was really hard to let go of. We're never going to be put in those situations to make those decisions. There's a reason that Tyler Heaps is the leader, and I think there's a reason Mikey Vadas is in those conversations as well. It's just a really unfortunate, huge situation for such a small club, and I think if the club was bigger, maybe it was our third, fourth year, we didn't do as great, Iloski would have stayed.
Yeah.
Just an unfortunate situation for all of us around, but big ups to Philadelphia because they did pay the $1 million that they would, they did pay what he was worth essentially. And at the end of the day, we have this argument with our friends all the time, but I will never stop a player from growing, and I'm always excited for him to grow. So it's exciting to see what he does in Philadelphia, and if he couldn't do it with us, I'm excited to see what he does over there.
Yeah. I think it's gonna be a big concern for everybody, because let's say Iloski, right, joins Philadelphia and he's firing on all cylinders, banging in goals left and right. That's going to kind of look bad on us. But if we have success this season, which, knock on wood, if we have success this season and Iloski doesn't really kind of live up to the potential that we may think that he can, then that's a W on the management, because they kind of saved themselves. And especially if Iloski was asking for the moon and the stars for this contract.
And I don't think he was exactly, but I think genuinely, like, he expected a little bit more, which I think he deserves, honestly.
I think so too. I think it's just one of those. I mean, Tyler Heaps said he's like, we tried to meet in the middle, but we couldn't. But then it's like, if Iloski did sign a long-term deal with San Diego FC, then I don't think anyone would have batted an eye and everything like that. And maybe, things are still going the way that they were in June.
But I think what it comes down to is just like, if they signed him and he does poorly the rest of the season, stuff like that, that's really bad on the team. It's terrible. But if he goes and does better, we just blame it on the sample size. That's it.
Yeah, I think it's also. I think it's also
a safer option.
I think it's all if Iloski, and then let's say in this scenario, Iloski does really good, banging in goals, and SDFC continue their success, then I think all parties are happy.
Right, exactly. And let's say even Iloski does good and we do terrible. At the end of the day, like, we're not going to do terrible, one.
Right.
But even if not, like, at the end of the day, we just say, oh, we weren't willing to take that risk. And it's understandable from every side. So I think in Tyler's mind, it was just a really easier option to do. And like I said, I put in that situation, I probably would have made the same.
Certainly. Yeah, definitely. So let us know what you guys think in the comment section below about this whole Iloski drama scenario. It's like a telenovela. I feel like.
Well, it feels like one a lot. Yeah.
So let's
at least we keep them on our tongue.
Definitely. So let's quickly close out this video. We'll talk about San Jose and we'll get out of here. So San Jose, the only team from California we haven't played yet. We played them away, and San Jose earlier this season they were doing pretty good. I remember they were in kind of the conversations for top 4, but they've definitely dropped off a bit. Now they sit in 9th place. What are your kind of thoughts overall on this fixture?
Yeah, I think thinking of San Diego's form going forward, I think it'll be a little tougher game compared to Kansas City. So I think I believe we'll be able to win it, but I don't think it's gonna. I think this is really where the game is gonna be shown if we can win or not. In an actual away game against an actual not a really good opponent, but a team that could surprise us.
Yeah, they're in contention for playoffs. They're still fighting for that spot.
So they're still fighting for it. Like, it's going to be one of those games where we just have to wait to see. I think we win it, but they could catch us off on.
Yeah, definitely. I think this is a more offensive team, which I think this does kind of play into our strengths because we're just a really good counterattacking team.
Right.
And I think if San Jose go into this game where they want to go fire off on all cylinders, right? I know they have that Donnie Martinez. I don't remember his first name. Not Lautaro. But anyways,
same colors though, right?
Sorry?
Same colors though, right?
No. Oh, yeah, they are black and blue. Yeah. No, we got to win this one now. We got to win this one. This is for me. Bambino, if you guys are watching any of the Bambinos, you guys are Bianco Nero. I'm Rossonero. We gotta take these over. We gotta take these guys. But regardless of the fact is, this is gonna be one of those where it's an offensive team, right? And I think this kind of plays into our strengths a little bit where we can counterattack. I think our defense will get tested though a lot. So I think I'm really hoping that Cedro Dos Santos has a big game. We'll see Chris McVeigh kind of back into the mix, and Manu Dua. I think he's maybe solidified that starting spot in center back because he's been playing very, very well in these last couple games.
And again, just shows we want younger players to start.
Oh yeah, definitely. And he's one of those that, he's going to be a star sooner or later. So, guys, let me know what you guys think in the comment section below about the San Jose games. What are you guys' thoughts, expectations? Throw a little score prediction in there as well. But, Carlos, we're finishing off here. You got anything else to add?
Yeah, I think, look, sad. We've been sad for a really long time because of Milan Iloski. We've been terrible.
No, you've been sad.
No. A lot of us, the fans, everybody has a lot to say. At the end of the day, though, I think it's time to put it to bed. I think it really spiked because of the Philadelphia news. But at this point, our boy's gone. We'll miss him. Who knows what is it, the saying? If you love him, let him go. And if they come back, whatever. But I think it's time to really just start focusing on the team, not focusing on the things that we could have had or what could have happened. It's time to just, like we talked about last game, last podcast was, it's time to lock in and dial in. But really, I think even more now with the Iloski news and everything, put it to bed, put it to rest, and let's focus on this team, the team that we have in front of us, the team that's willing to put us. We finished Leagues Cup. We've won this game against Kansas City. Only a few more games left, guys, and we have a really big chance, and we just got to be supporting and keep going and really, really doing the best. At the end of the day, we cannot be mad what happens because this team has put everybody on top, has surprised everybody. We have fought long and hard, and I know that there's still a lot for us to give, but let's just keep going.
Yep, 9 games left of the regular season.
Let's keep going.
Thank you so much for tuning in. Make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe. Check us out on Instagram and TikTok. Link in the description below. That being said, guys, thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll see y'all in the next video. Ciao, ragazzi.